From the moment you start thinking about a Disney cruise for the first time till the second you step back onto dry land again afterwards, we've got everything you need to know about planning your Disney cruise the right way so you don't miss out on a thing. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Now, as much as we love the Disney park, and believe me, we love them a lot, there's just something about taking a Disney cruise that gives us a completely different set of excited butterflies in our tummies. You got the deck pools, you got the unlimited ice cream, the bingo, the ample opportunity to explore as much as you want to, or simply sit back in one of the ship's many lounge chairs and read a good book as you sail across the sparkling waters. What could be better? Today we are diving, see what we did there, into the Disney Cruise Line scene so we can help you plan your trip out at sea from start to finish. But before we get started, if you're looking for a free digital guide, you know we've got one that you can refer back to while you're amid your Disney cruise planning. Go ahead and scan the QR code you see on the screen now or head to disneyfoodblog.com/cruise planning to pick up our Disney Cruise Ultimate Guide, packed with pro tips, ship descriptions, planning itineraries, and more. And we just hired a graphic designer, so these just got even prettier. So I hope you go pick one of these up. Okay, we're gonna get the hard stuff out of the way first so that we can just have fun. Just because it's not time for your cruise yet doesn't mean you can just coast along until it's Sailaway day. There's still plenty to do before you switch over to cruise control. Oh, Bria. What are we gonna do with Bria? That was a pretty bad joke. Oh, I love her. Anyway, okay, enough punning around. Time to get serious-ish. First of all, once your family is all agreed that, yeah, Disney cruise is something you want to do for a future vacation, you got to book a stateroom for your cruise's specific timeline pronto. The earlier you book, the more likely you're going to be able to select the specific stateroom you want without having to choose from whatever's left over. Not to mention, an earlier booking also means you got a lot more time to pace out your cruise payments, thanks to DCL's flexible payment plan, making the whole vacation investment a lot less stressful and hard on your wallet. So booking a cruise earlier is also going to give you a better chance at booking it at a better price point. Much like Disney's hotels and park tickets, cruises also have the potential to increase their prices if there's a high enough demand. And the closer you get to a particular cruise date, the more likely prices are going to start to climb as more and more rooms fill up. While DCL does have flexible payment plans to help you pay off your cruise in a way that best fits your budget, you're going to want to make sure you pay off your cruise in full before it's time to book your premium on-cruise activities. Because if you still have an outstanding payment, then you're not going to be able to make any other extra reservations until that's completely cleared. For some folks, making extra activity reservations isn't really going to be a key priority, so you're not going to have to stress too much over that. But if you're someone who's wanting to book something like an adults-only dining reservation, popular meet and greet opportunities, the It's a Small World nursery for your little ones, spa treatments, island cabanas, beverage seminars, or any of the other specialty onboard offerings that have a limited amount of openings for passengers, then yeah, you're going to want to finalize those ship payments ASAP so you can start making your extra activity reservations as soon as you're cleared to do so. But when can you start making your activity reservations? Well, I am glad you asked. It all depends on your Castaway Club member status. I could get into all the jargon of it, but in a nutshell, the more cruises you've been on, the earlier you get to book all the extra fun stuff. New cruisers will be able to start booking these extra activities about 30 days out. If you want to guarantee an earlier activities booking time, even as a new cruiser, you can always splurge on a concierge stateroom instead. These are the swankiest stateroom options of them all, which are going to let you book your extra onboard activities online 123 days prior to your sail date, very specific. For those of you who want to book those extra activities, stay tuned for a booking email that Disney will drop in your inbox before those reservations go live for you. This email is going to let you know when exactly you're going to be able to start booking said activities. And when your booking window does open up, log into the Disney Cruise Line website or Disney Cruise Line navigation app as soon as the clock strikes midnight, since activities can and will book up fast. Now, just a heads up, the Wi-Fi on board these ships is not your typical Wi-Fi. The only thing the complimentary Wi-Fi service will let you do is access your Disney Cruise Line Navigator app, which is basically the cruise equivalent of Disney World's My Disney Experience app or Disneyland's Disneyland app, meaning you're definitely, absolutely 110% going to want to download that ahead of time too. If you don't want to lose access to the outside world while you're riding across the seas though, then you'll also need to determine if you'd like to get an international plan or cruise plan on your cell phone before your trip. I use the AT&T International plan that automatically notices if I go out of the country and costs me just $10 per day to have my same data plan. It's much better than paying roaming charges or having to remember to turn on an international plan or turn it off or whatever. It just, if I go into another country, it just turns on. Okay, are you still with me? Got one more thing in the hard stuff section. Perhaps the one thing you need to do before all of this, even before you book your stateroom, is decide whether you want to book your cruise all by yourself or if you want a little extra help from a Disney Cruise Line travel agent. Reliable agents like, we always recommend Small World Vacations, can help you figure out the perfect payment plan for your dream Disney cruise without you having to lift a finger or pay anything extra because they're free. Small World also does those bonuses, that onboard credit, so you can get anywhere between $50 and $1,000 of credit that you can spend on your cruise if you use them. So I'm going to go ahead and put a link to their website down in the description for you in case you want to check that out. Okay, here comes the fun stuff. Now you get to meet the ships. Disney Cruise Line has 5 different ships for you to choose from. At least at the moment, that's how many they have. Foreshadowing, right? I know, we've got more ships coming. Anyway, first you've got the Disney Magic, based in the Atlantic Ocean with itineraries to the Caribbean, Bahamas, Northern Europe, and the Mediterranean. Then there's the Disney Wonder, based in the Pacific Ocean with itineraries along the American West Coast, as well as Hawaii and Alaska. And additionally, the Disney Wonder now sails to Australia and New Zealand. Next, you've got the Dream, which typically sails out of Port Canaveral and the Port of Miami with more unique itineraries to not just the Bahamas, but also to the British and Greek Isles, Norway, and the transatlantic crossing to get you over to the British and Greek Isles in Norway. Now, after that, you've got the Disney Fantasy, based out of Port Canaveral, offering 7-night Eastern and Western Caribbean sailings. Finally, there's the newest ship, the Disney Wish, that also sails out of Port Canaveral most of the time and offers 3 to 4 night cruises to strictly the Bahamas. At least that's what they offer for now. Cruise destinations switch up all the time, so it's always a good idea to research all of this ahead of time via the Disney Cruise Line website so you know which cruises specifically are going to sail during the dates you're planning on vacationing, and that they'll be sailing to places you really want to see. Now, we say these are the places that these ships are going right now because when Disney introduces a new ship to their fleet, things tend to switch up. The new ship tends to take over the shorter cruises because, of course, they want the new cruisers to see the new ship and fall in love with Disney Cruise Line. And so that's why you tend to have the shorter cruises on the newer ship, because new cruisers take shorter cruises. Make sense? Makes sense. Anyway, at the end of the year, Disney Cruise Line will be officially welcoming their 6th ship, the Disney Treasure. Now, this ship is set to make its maiden voyage on December 24th, 2024. So that you are having Christmas on the ship. The Disney Treasure will celebrate Walt Disney's lifelong love of adventure, featuring lots of theming and decor inspired by the grandeur and mystery of a gilded palace, drawing influences from Asia and Africa and Aladdin's Agrabah, which doesn't exist, but that's okay. Technically, in 2025, Disney will welcome 2 more Disney cruise ships into the cruise line family. The Disney Destiny will be inspired by Disney's greatest heroes and villains, while the Disney Adventure will be Disney's first ever ship to have a home port in Asia. It's going to sail out of Singapore. Granted, you really don't have to worry about the Disney Destiny or Disney Adventure while planning your cruise for this year. You may want to hold off on your Disney cruise planning altogether right now, though, if you'd rather wait to board one of the 2025 ships instead. All depends on what you're looking for. Okay, we're getting even more fun next. Sailaway day. Picture this. You arrive at your port of departure, you get to the terminal, waiting as patiently as you can, and then, after all this time, when you've been bringing up the app and looking at the countdown every single day, it is finally your turn to board the Disney Cruise Line. That is chills right there, all up and down your arm and your back and your spine and your face. Anyway, let's not slip on those rose-colored glasses just yet, though. There are still a few things you need to prepare for, specifically when it comes to your Sailaway day. Here's my big word of warning for you. Do not, I repeat, do not fly in on your Sailaway day. I know some of you do this, and I know you're going to tell me in the comments that it's just fine and it's no problem, AJ, and it saves time. But it freaks me out. If you are flying to your ship's home port, remember that flight delays and cancellations can definitely happen, especially in places like Florida, where there are things like hurricanes and storms all the time. And your Disney cruise isn't necessarily going to wait for you to arrive. The best thing you can do, just to make sure you've got plenty of travel wiggle room and your anxiety isn't through the roof, is to fly in a night or two before your cruise and book a hotel nearby. Then you can call Disney Cruise Line at 800-951-3532 to make ground transportation arrangements from your hotel and over to the port of departure. Or if you prefer, you can always pay for a rideshare service like Uber or Lyft to take you the rest of the way to your cruise's home port instead. If you're driving to your ship's home port instead, be prepared to pay for those extra parking garage fees. For example, on a 3-day cruise, this is usually going to cost a little over $70, and you pay right before you park. But before you go to pay and park, you drop off your luggage with the Disney Cruise Line crew, the friendly folks out front dressed in bright red shirts. These cast members are responsible for delivering your luggage up to your room between 2 and 4 p.m. If you'd rather keep your luggage with you, you're more than welcome to hold on to it, but you will have to carry it around until your room is ready, which won't be until after 1:30 p.m. and possibly later. So if your boarding time is around 11-ish, you might be stuck rolling around all your stuff for the next couple of hours. Before you enter the ship's terminal, you'll be asked to show the crew member at the gate your passport, so make sure each member of your family has theirs out and ready to go. Now, I am very adamant about not glossing over that one. I went down to Orlando because I was about to get on a cruise and completely forgot my passport because I was thinking, oh, we're just going to the Bahamas. We're not going out of the country. Lies. Absolutely not true. I knew the Bahamas was a different country, but alas, I was like, I won't need my passport. You need your passport. Just bring your passport. No matter where you're going, bring your passport. And by the way, if you don't have a passport and you're going to take a Disney cruise vacation, go ahead and apply for it ASAP. Okay, so once you show your passport and you walk into the terminal, you are one step closer to getting on your cruise ship. We are really cooking with gas now. Now, while you're waiting in the terminal and killing time, counting the minutes until you're able to board, connect to the ship's complimentary Wi-Fi right there in the terminal so you can access the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app for real for the first time. This is going to be your hub for the rest of the 3 days, week, however long you're on the ship. The Wi-Fi connection should recognize that you're in the DCL terminal, giving you access to your ship's full itinerary for the duration of your vacation. Tap the little heart next to each of the all-inclusive activities you think you might want to do. That way, your Navigator app can send you notifications and reminders throughout your cruise, letting you know when one of your hearted activities is getting ready to start. And now the time has finally come to board your ship. By the way, sorry, let me pop back to that previous note that I was just saying. You definitely want to go through and kind of heart all of those activities before you get on the ship, so you're not wasting any time, any ship time that you could be doing other super fun stuff, kind of going through and reading all of the activities. Just get that done beforehand, because you're gonna be sitting in that terminal waiting interminably, the longest time ever to get on that ship. So this is a good way to use that time. Okay, for real this time, it's time to board our ship. After a quick little group photo op, you'll be led into the ship's atrium where your party's name will be announced to all the crew members and passengers currently on board. Hello, celebrity status. I really like letting the kids in our group kind of be the leaders on this one because they think it's very, very cool when they get to announce their name and everybody claps for them and stuff. It's really fun. Okay, we are on the ship. Now, you don't know where to start, so prioritize this. Admittedly, those first couple of moments when you're in the atrium can make you feel like a deer in the headlights. This is exciting, but where on earth are you supposed to go now that you're actually on the ship? I mean, time is ticking away, my friends. So the first hour on board the ship is a really good time to head over to guest relations to get any last-minute questions or concerns squared away before you set sail. This includes things like making any dining schedule changes, checking for last-minute reservations for premium activities, booking special celebration packages, requesting pack-and-plays or diaper genies for your room, or even just getting to know more about the ship itself and where you're sailing to. For many passengers, this is also prime dining time, so a lot of folks will make a beeline for the lunch buffet once they get on board to get a head start on their all-inclusive food. However, if your family wants to prioritize the water rides or coasters like the Aqua Dunk, the Aqua Duck, the Aqua Mouse, whichever one your ship has available, then I'd hit up those rides first, even before lunch, as long as you don't have anything you need cleared up over at guest relations first. The water rides can start seeing some pretty long lines throughout your time at sea, but being able to hit them up just as soon as you board can help you cut down on those potentially much longer waits that you'll see them rack up later on. That's why you're going to want to make sure you've either got your swimwear on under your clothes when you board or inside your carry-on bag that you didn't hand off to the red shirt crew members before you parked. Okay, welcome to your stateroom. It may be a little stateroom, but it's your little stateroom for the next few days, so let's get acquainted with it. There are a few different stateroom options you'll have to choose from when you book your cruise. The inside staterooms are the cheapest, but won't give you a look out at the sea. The ocean view staterooms are like inside rooms, except for the fact that you'll get a little porthole window that looks out at the water. The ocean view staterooms with a veranda have a private outdoor balcony for you to step out on to admire the sparkling waters down below, and the concierge staterooms and suites are the most expensive option, but will give you the most space and provide you with exclusive concierge services, including early booking times, like I mentioned earlier, and private concierge lounge access. Much like you need to book your extra cruise activities ASAP, make sure to check into your stateroom as soon as you're able to as well. The earlier you can check in, and that's checking in on the website, by the way, so like pre-check-in, which for new cruisers will still be 30 days out right at midnight, the earlier you'll be able to board the ship. And the earlier you board, the more time you'll get to spend on board before your ship starts sailing. So when you do your online check-in, it'll give you the opportunity to choose your boarding time. Now, those early ones go really fast, so the earlier you can check in, the earlier time you can probably get. I've said that twice now, so hopefully it makes sense. Sorry, I always repeat stuff, don't I? Anyway, staterooms should be ready around 1:30 p.m. and your checked luggage should be brought up to your room shortly after that. Unless, of course, your luggage was flagged for some reason if you accidentally brought on board one of the Disney Cruise Line's banned items, like a pair of scissors with blades exceeding 4 inches, which my mom and I learned the hard way on our last Disney cruise together. Good job, Mom. Anyway, if your luggage is flagged and you are a convict like my mother and it needs to be more thoroughly checked by the crew member security team, then you might not wind up getting your bag sent to your room until much later on in the evening. We're talking after dinner late, like after the ship sails away and you still don't have your suitcase and you're freaking out. This is why you'll more than likely want to pack a carry-on bag to keep with you at all times, like a backpack or purse, so you can have those super important items close by even when your luggage is off getting the 3rd degree. This includes items like medications or sunscreen or that extra change of clothes after you get off the water coaster. Anything you need access to before your luggage makes it up to your room, and assume that it's very possible your luggage might not get there till 8 p.m., then go ahead and pack it in your carry-on. My mom and I were very concerned that she did not have her diabetes medication that she was going to need. So see, I've been on a lot of cruises and I'm still making all the mistakes. That's why you follow us, because we make the mistakes so you don't have to. Now, if you accidentally pack a prohibited item, Disney isn't going to automatically put you on a no-sale list or anything. They will hold on to your item, though, and deliver the rest of your luggage to your room and give you a little receipt. At the end of your cruise, show this receipt to a cast member before you disembark and they can reunite you with your stuff. There's like a big table of banned stuff when you get off the ship, and you can go over there and they have a big bucket of scissors and you just find yours. That's kind of how it works. They also have a lot of rice cookers and so many power strips too. Now, the moral here, don't forget to check Disney Cruise Line's list of prohibited and banned items on the website so you don't have to worry about whether or not the things you're packing are actually going to be allowed inside your stateroom or not. You don't want to deal with the anxiety of your suitcase not coming up to your room and sailing away and kind of losing your mind like we did. So don't do that. Now, as you're busy getting acquainted with your room, check out the free room service menu. That's right. Room service is available 24 hours a day on your Disney cruise, meaning you can have breakfast, lunch, and late night snacks sent up to your stateroom whenever you want. Just pick up the phone inside your stateroom, dial the room service button, and it's just that easy. All room service offerings are listed on the Navigator app so you can figure out what you want to order before you call. And room service is available until 1:30 a.m. on the final day of your cruise, so no breakfast the next morning. By the way, they do have those little cards. If you look in the drawer in your, or the desk drawer in your stateroom, they'll have those little breakfast cards where you kind of check the boxes and hang it outside the night before, and they'll bring your breakfast in the morning. You don't have to get up and order it. Now, one last note about room service before we move on. While room service is technically free and included in your cruise, you are still expected to provide a gratuity to the room service crew when you use this luxury. There are a couple of ways you can tip for your room service. You can either use cash, or you can write in a gratuity amount at your discretion on your room service receipt. The amount you write down will automatically be charged to your onboard credit account. And now for one of my favorite cruise topics of them all, Disney Cruise Dining. For breakfast and lunch, your ship is going to have one major food hall with a variety of food stations featuring tons of different entrees and sides and desserts. If you're aboard the Disney Wish or the Treasure, that food hall is called Marceline Market. But if you're aboard any other of the 4 ships, it's called Cabanas. For the record, Bria actually enjoyed the options at Marceline Market more than her rotational dining options for dinner, and that took her a while to even admit to herself. Now, you can have breakfast in these food halls until about 10:45 a.m. It kind of shifts around sometimes, but after that, these food halls will switch over to their lunch offerings between 11 and 2 p.m. If you're looking for lighter crowds in the morning, consider eating at one of the other open dining rooms instead. Wherever else breakfast and lunch are also being served that day, it'll be in one of the main rotational dining rooms. If you miss out on when lunch is being served, you can still grab later lunch near the pool quick service locations, which provide a variety of standard options like pizza and burgers, hot dogs, those amazing chicken tenders, ice cream, etc. So you're not going to go hungry. Plus, you also have that 24-hour room service. And when it comes to your nightly meals aboard a Disney cruise, prepare for things to get a whole lot more entertaining. When you book your cruise, you're going to get to choose a preferred dining dinner time, either for an earlier time slot or a later time slot. While Disney usually accommodates your request, there are occasions when you might get slotted into a dining time you don't particularly want. Usually, the 2 dining times are around 5:30 and 8:30. Now, if this happens, you can always call ahead and get put on a wait list for the other dining time slot, or you can try to get your dining time changed over at guest services on the day you board the ship. There's also a link on the Disney Cruise Line website in your My Reservations section to request a seating change as well. When you're all cleared to start booking those extra cruise line activities, you'll also be able to start making dining reservations for premium adults-only dinner opportunities too, and brunch opportunities. Just know that these meals will cost you extra and also replace one of your all-inclusive dinner options if you're going for dinner. Not saying that's not worth the sacrifice, especially if you want to dine on some top-tier cuisine, or if you're on a longer cruise and you're going to be able to go to the rotational dining locations twice. But regardless of 5-star food quality, it's still sacrificing one of your free meals. And on that note, let's start talking about the all-inclusive rotational dining in case you're unfamiliar with how rotational dining aboard the cruises works. This basically means you'll be rotating between 3 main restaurants for each of your dinners. You'll also keep the same wait staff for all of those meals, meaning your server will get to know your specific likes and dislikes and allergy concerns really, really well, and they'll follow you to each restaurant as you go. Now, as soon as you connect to the cruise Wi-Fi in the ship's terminal, you're going to be able to check out your rotational dining schedule to see which restaurants you'll be dining at on which nights. Again, you can change this schedule if there's availability by going to guest relations on embarkation day. Keep in mind though, this will be your only time to change things up because once you've set sail, your dining schedule will be signed, sealed, and delivered. Rotational dining is all inclusive, so make sure to order whatever you want. Nope, seriously, if you want to order 3 appetizers and 2 desserts, you can totally do that. Or if you're having a hard time choosing between 2 entrees, order both and find out which one you like best. But these dining experiences aren't just all inclusive, they're super entertaining and immersive too. Some rotational dining experiences are the same across multiple ships, like Animator's Palette, featured on every ship except the Disney Wish and future Disney Treasure, and Enchanted Garden, featured on the Disney Dream and Disney Fantasy. But some dining experiences are exclusive to the ship you are on. Disney Magic has Rapunzel's Royal Table, where you're going to meet Flynn and Punzi and a bunch of your favorite ruffians in a floating lantern-lit setting, as well as Lumiere's. That's a classy table service themed around Beauty and the Beast. Disney Wonder has Tiana's Place, complete with a full-on jazz band and Creole eats, and Triton's, which serves up a 4-course meal in a sophisticated setting themed after The Little Mermaid. Disney Dream has Royal Palace, with theming inspired by a smorgasbord of Disney princess stories and a menu filled with French cuisine. Disney Fantasy has the Royal Court, which is in the same vein as Royal Palace, but more so focused on artwork that features princess movies like Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast. And Disney Wish has Arendelle, a Frozen dining adventure, with the cast of Frozen ready to celebrate Anna and Kristoff's engagement through a series of sing-alongs and meet and greets. And there's Worlds of Marvel, a superhero adventure and meal all-in-one, and 1923, which illustrates the evolution of animation through its decor while also serving up fresh California-inspired dishes. Now, on the Treasure, they're going to switch things up a little bit more. Plaza de Coco will be a theatrical dining experience inside the Disney Treasure, and also the first cruise experience themed around the beloved Pixar film Coco. This is going to replace the Frozen dining adventure, which is on the Wish. Wait, that didn't make sense. Okay, so where the Frozen dining adventure is on the Wish, Coco is going to be on the Treasure. Make sense? Okay, Frozen dining adventure isn't going going anywhere. It's staying there on the Wish. They're just replacing the concept of it on the treasure. Okay, Miguel and his familia are going to come together in Mariachi Plaza while guests will join them on 2 evenings to celebrate family memories and the joy of being together through live music and delicious meals. On the first night, the story of Miguel and his familia will continue where it left off on the screen as they gather in Mariachi Plaza to take guests on a colorful, music-filled journey that celebrates family memories and togetherness. Then, on the second night, Disney hinted that Miguel will reunite with his great-great-grandparents, Hector and Mama Imelda, by transporting them to Santa Cecilia with the help of his magic guitar for La Dia de los Muertos. So the dinner menus are going to present modern twists on traditional Mexican fare, while the individual shows are presented in a theater in the round environment focused on a central stage, just like the Frozen adventure situation is done on the Wish. Now, while the lounges and coffee shops aboard the ships do cost extra, they're still super fun to check out if you want a specialty beverage, alcoholic or non, inside yet another immersive Disney environment. Depending on the lounge, you might find the space is adults only, or that the lounge turns into an adults only space after 9 p.m. So just make sure you research the lounges aboard your ship before you sail away so you're familiar with all the rules. Fun fact, the Disney Magic actually opened up a new lounge last year, completely themed after the Disney Pixar film Soul. Soul Cat Lounge is designed to look like the Half Note Lounge straight from the movie, so think classic New York jazz club with brick walls, wood accents, and plenty of rich leather seating around a stage set for live music. This lounge even has a dance floor, so make sure you got your boot, scoot, and boogie shoes polished and ready to go. When the Disney Treasure starts to welcome passengers on board, it's going to premiere 3 brand new lounges to the cruise line scene. The Haunted Mansion Parlor will give foolish mortals the chance to sip on spirited craft cocktails among 999 happy haunts. The Skipper's Society is going to draw inspiration for its drinks and decor from the various iterations of the Jungle Cruise Park attraction you're going to find featured around the world. And the Periscope Pub will be the first Disney Cruise Line venue inspired not only by Walt Disney's 1954 film, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but also by the defunct Disney World Park attraction, which operated from 1971 to 1994. Okay, I hope you downloaded the Navigator app like I told you to do earlier, because this little gadget is about to help you out in a big way. Not only will the Navigator app update you about those filler activities like trivia competitions, sketch classes, bingo, even the new interactive Encanto celebration aboard the Disney Magic that's got crafts and music, storytelling, and drinks for the adults, but it'll also keep you in the loop about the big events too, like dinner and stage shows and any specialty nighttime spectaculars. I like to just sit there and read the menus over and over again. That's what I do on the app most of the time. Anyway, there are 2 different showings of each variety show or Broadway-style musical per day, one that accommodates guests from each of the 2 dining times. However, for a brand new popular musical like you might find once Disney Tale of Moana premieres on the Disney Treasure, there might also be an additional showing earlier in the day. Even if you don't have your Navigator app nearby, events for the day will also be listed on screens around each level of the ship and be played on your stateroom TV. So if there is an extra showing of Moana, definitely go check it out. And let's not forget about the themed days at sea too. For most cruises, you'll be able to participate in a Pirate Nights. 4+ day cruises will have specialty dinner menus specific for Pirate Night, all dedicated to our pillaging pals, but all cruises with Pirate Night, even the 3-day cruises, can expect an evening full of pirate cosplay, limited time meet and greets with Pirate Mickey and friends, and 2 different pirate shows on the upper deck, with the second show ending in fireworks. Depending on what cruise you're sailing on and what time of year you're sailing, you might also get to experience more than just a pirate night. Some of those specialty days out at sea could include a special focus on Marvel heroes or Pixar friends, where the cruise could be completely themed around holiday celebrations for Christmas or Thanksgiving, Halloween, and New Year's. Now, whether you're going with just adults on your next Disney cruise or you've dropped off your kid at one of the kids' clubs and you've now got some free time for yourself, this is how you're going to want to experience a Disney cruise the grown-up way. Disney cruises each have an adults exclusive section on the upper deck of the ship, the Quiet Cove area, and these sections include lounge chairs, a bar area, and private whirlpool spas and pools. If you want to hang out at the adult pool before all the other adults get there and crowd the space, plan to go first thing in the morning, even before breakfast. I'm talking 8 a.m. sharp. Now, what you'll start to notice when you're browsing through the Navigator app is that not every activity is listed for all guests. Some are for certain age ranges only. So when you see a sketch class that's listed as 18 plus, that doesn't mean the sketch is going to be like raunchy or anything. It just means it's an adults-only class for those who want to learn to draw a character or compete in a trivia competition without having to babysit too. Just to reiterate, adults-only restaurants and lounges do cost extra, as do the Senses spa services. And since we're on the spa subject, let's talk about how that all works real quick. Massage packages can be booked in advance on the Disney Cruise Line website, and they range around $118 to $325 plus, depending on the treatment and how long the massage is. But get this, the rainforest rooms at the Senses Spa cost around $39 per day. These are going to give you access to steam baths, saunas, hot steam rooms, dry saunas, specialty rain shower experiences, super relaxing lounge areas. There are also packages where you can add the rainforest room onto your trip for multiple days. For example, if you're about to go on an 8-day voyage aboard the Disney Fantasy, you can get a voyage-length rainforest room pass for around $189, though prices are subject to change. If you want to add a pass to the rainforest room once you're on board, just reach out to one of the crew members at the Senses Spa and Salon on your embarkation day. The Senses Spa also will have Senses fitness centers attached to them, which won't cost you anything extra to use. There are a ton of different machines here, from treadmills to weights, even cycling rooms, so if you don't want your cruise to interrupt your workout regimen, it doesn't have to. So we can't just gloss over all the kid and teen activities that happen on the Disney cruises too, because those are going to possibly take up a good chunk of your child's time when they're on board. If you've got a little one between the ages of 6 months to 3 years old, you can drop them off at the It's a Small World nursery, where they'll be doted on thanks to the professionally trained nursery crew members on board. This nursery spot is different from the regular kids and teens clubs because there is a per-hour charge. You also need to book your kids' spot in the nursery while you're booking your other extra activities before your trip. It does sell out. And no need to stress about how your little one's doing all day long. The nursery counselors use the chat feature in the DCL app to communicate any needs or situations to parents that might come up. Now, for kids ages 3 to 12, you've got the Oceaneer Club to look forward to. When kids are checked into the Oceaneer Club, they'll enter a common hub area that splits off into themed activity rooms that'll be based around their favorite Disney characters and stories. Each cruise has different themed rooms, which you can check out ahead of time on the Disney Cruise Line website. And for the teens of your group, you'll have the Vibe Club for ages 14 to 17. This is a club built with teens in mind, where technology and social media reign supreme. And it wouldn't be a club if it didn't have refreshments like the adult nightclubs do, just non-alcoholic versions like soda, coffee, and smoothies. Bonus spot for all you teens out there: if you're cruising aboard the Disney Dream, Fantasy, or Magic, you'll have access to your very own chill spa for teens and teens only. This spa within a spa has a unique space with treatment rooms and showers and a separate seating area just for the teen clientele. There's also a menu of services for you, including facials, massages, body treatments, manicures, and pedicures. The chill spa does cost extra, so make sure your kids save up their allowance for this special treatment. For kids who are too old for the Oceaneer Club but too young for Vibe, you got the Edge hangout spot for the tweens. At Edge, tweens can play video games, sing karaoke, watch TV, and use the computer lab. The space is filled with couches for hanging out, arts and crafts tables, and flat screen TVs. For adults who want to stop by these locations just to get a peek at what the kids and teens clubs look like, you can stop by during open house days and hours, which will be listed on your Navigator app. This is a good opportunity to help get your kids warmed up and familiarized with the kids club areas before dropping them off for a duration of time to play, since that can be a little overwhelming for some of them. All right, it's time to explore your port. The majority of Disney cruises aren't going to strictly stay out at sea, though a select few of them will. More often than not, you're going to have an overseas port of call to explore, which is going to make you shift your cruise planning gears drastically. Before you exit the ship to start your sightseeing excursions, everyone will need their Key to the World card to get on and off the cruise. And by everyone, I mean everyone. If someone in your party just so happens to lose their key card before getting ashore, they'll be sent to the ship's guest services first to receive a new one, because you cannot get off the ship without it. I'd also recommend having your passport close by at all times. While different ports of call may have passport regulations that are different, many of them could still require you to have your passport out and ready to be checked before you get on and off at your overseas destination, even though you had your own passport to get on your Disney cruise ship in the first place. Always double check your specific cruise's guidelines on the DCL website and see what you'll need to have with you before you debark. When you're trying to get back on the ship, you'll not only have to rescan your key card, but you'll also have to go through cruise security. It's pretty painless, but just make sure you're not trying to smuggle anything back in that Disney's going to red flag you for, like scissors. Also, Also, if you purchase a nice bottle of alcohol while you're at your port of call, like a liquor or spirit or excess amount of wine that goes beyond the 2-bottle limit you're allowed to bring on board, then it'll have to be stored by Disney for the duration of your trip. You can retrieve your alcohol after your trip ends at the pickup location by the ship's exit right before you depart. Now, there are 2 types of ports of call that you might be able to experience during your cruise. The first is a Disney-owned port of call, which I'll talk about more next, and the second is a non-Disney-owned port of call. That means Disney's just docking at a new location but doesn't own this property that they're docking in. So once you step off the boat, the all-inclusiveness gets thrown out the window and any kind of food or beverage you want to pick up here is going to be out of your own pocket. When you're at your non-Disney port of call, which could include somewhere in Alaska, the Bahamas, Bermuda, Canada, Europe, several other touristy destinations that you're going to find featured on their website, you can book a Disney-led excursion or a non-Disney excursion at any one of these places. So this could be something like a boat tour, a sightseeing hike, or a day pass for water parks, scuba diving adventures, whatever. The Disney excursions are all listed on the Disney Cruise website, featured in the Port Adventures section. So what's the key difference between booking a Disney excursion versus a non-Disney one? Well, there are a couple of them. Some folks prefer the non-Disney excursions because they can often be more affordable. They're also typically led by locals who've got a good sense of all the hidden gems of the area that you might not otherwise see. However, if your non-Disney excursion ends up running behind, your ship will not wait for you if you're late to return. The ship will wait for you if it's a Disney port adventure that's holding you up, because that's Disney's own fault for not getting you back on time. But if a non-Disney excursion doesn't get you back to the port before your ship sets sail, you might find yourself having to book a one-way ticket back home in a place you're unfamiliar with. So plan your extracurriculars with caution. Another reason why passengers prefer booking port adventures through Disney: transportation. Overseas ports will have taxi cab services and their own rideshare apps that you might want to look into downloading for your trip. But before you just hop into the first taxi that comes your way, do your research and make sure the service you find is one you're super comfortable with using. My best advice for you is to contact the Disney Cruise Line directly and ask what they recommend you look into for rideshare and taxis. Disney's help desk should be able to give you a few reliable rideshare sources for your ship's specific port of call. With that being said, if you book a port adventure through Disney, the excursion's cost will cover ground transportation to and from the ship, making things a whole lot less stressful for you. So again, do the research. And don't forget, you don't have to book any excursions at all if you don't want to. Some of us like to take our port days pretty leisurely, exploring the area at our own speed for no extra cost, and other folks like to just stay on the ship to experience the extra activities that'll still be going on board with fewer people around. This is another good time to get on the water rides and coasters without those massive lines. Just remember, the ship's gift shops will not be open when you are in port, so you're not going to be able to do any Disney cruise shopping if you decide to hang back, and you won't be able to get anything from any stores until your ship has left port. Castaway Cay finally has another island destination sibling coming onto the Disney Cruise Line scene, and that island destination is Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. Lookout Cay is located on the island of Eleuthera in the Bahamas and will be a colorful destination featuring an adults-only beach, a family water play area, a themed kids club, lots of port excursion opportunities, and more. The curvilinear buildings that you'll see around this island will at first glance look like shells along the shore, but as you look closer, you'll find artistic expressions of the native flora and fauna. Guests will also find several references to Bahamian folklore characters here, setting it apart from its private island sibling, Castaway Cay. Another thing that sets Lookout Cay apart from Castaway, it's not a full-on private island like Castaway is. When you go to Castaway Cay, every inch you explore is Disney-owned. However, since Lookout Cay is located on the island of Eleuthera, technically this piece of Disney property will be on one side of the island, while a whole population of locals live on the other side of the island. So technically, you could leave the Disney bubble and go explore different parts of Eleuthera if you wanted to. You're just not going to have the all-inclusiveness once you're outside Disney property. The Disney Magic, Disney Dream, and Disney Fantasy cruise ships will all offer sailings to Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point, with a preview sailing on the Disney Magic on June 6th to the 9th, and an inaugural sailing on the Disney Fantasy June 8th to the 15th. But whether your ship's going to be taking you to Castaway or Lookout or both, there are things you're going to need to know about visiting both island destinations. First off, any extra payments you make at these locations for souvenirs or adult beverages will be charged directly to your room. So nope, you can't use cards or cash to pay for gift shop items, just your room key. If the stateroom you're crashing in is attached to someone else's card number, then you might want to bring some cash to pay them back with, or you can drop them some Venmo monies once you debark or buy them a couple drinks on the ship. Rentals for snorkels, tubes, etc. can either be made before your cruise while you're booking all your other extra premium activities or on your key day. For Castaway Cay, you can rent beach gear over at Gill's Fins and Boats next to the Snorkel Lagoon, the Windsock Hut over at Serenity Bay, or Flippers and Floats closer to the Pelican Plunge water slides. If you plan on snorkeling, consider bringing your own snorkel gear from home for a way cheaper experience. That way, you don't have to pay $30 plus for rental gear for each member of your party, but you do have to haul it on and off the ship. When lunchtime rolls around, you don't have to worry about getting back onto the ship for a free meal. The all-inclusive market-style dining continues out on Castaway and Lookout 2. Cookies Barbecue and Cookies 2 Barbecue will be your family's quick service choices on Castaway Cay, while True 2 Barbecue will be your family dining option at Lookout Cay. There's also adults-only barbecue locations, Serenity Bay Barbecue for both adults-only beaches, strictly serving the 18 and older crowd. Each of these quick services will continuously provide lunch and snacks between 11 and 2 p.m. All right, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is literally the worst day ever because you have to leave your fun-filled vacation and go back to your normal life. But the least I can do for you here is let you know what you can expect on that final day aboard your ship before you have to leave. The night before disembarkation day, you'll need to have suitcases tagged and outside your door by 10:45 p.m. if you want them picked up and unloaded off the ship for you. You don't have to do this, but if you don't, you'll have to keep your luggage with you and roll it down to breakfast in the morning. Your final breakfast will take place at the last rotational restaurant you experienced the night before, just minus all the extra flair and entertainment. And then it's time to cry because you'll have to get off the ship. Debarking can take a while. It's a lot like boarding a flight. If you want to get off the ship faster, keep your luggage with you and leave as soon as the ship has cleared customs, which is usually around 7:30 or 8 a.m. That way you don't have to wait for them to call your character luggage tags. You can just skip breakfast and peace out, which you may want to do if you've got an afternoon flight to catch. This will also save you a lot of waiting in line to go through customs and get your luggage and all of that stuff. Now the next part is just getting off the ship. You'll only need one key to the world card for your whole party, unlike when you reach the overseas ports of call, when everyone has to have their key card present. If you're trying to drag out the inevitable, however, and you do have your luggage taken down the night before, you'll pick it up right before you get in line at customs. Be ready with your passport and don't have fruit that you've picked up at any overseas destination tucked into your bag because you will have to discard it before you're all cleared. Sorry about that, fruit fiends. Now, I hate to say bon voyage after the best Disney cruise ever, but now it's time for me to let you go so you can start planning your best cruise ever. And don't forget, we've got that free Disney Cruise Ultimate Guide just waiting to send to your email, which you can pick up right now over at disneyfoodblog.com/cruise planning. Please let us know all of your great cruise tips in the comments. I can't wait to chat with you about it there. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.